Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Thursday. It is, as we like to call it here, Friday Eve. I know Halloween's coming up and everything too. But it is Friday Eve. Looking forward to the weekend. But I got a couple of great guests on the show. Looking forward to this conversation. But before I bring them back on, let's get it. Hit my music. Let's go. All right. Once again, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harding. Glad to be back. Happy Thursday evening, October 30th, almost November. But before we get started, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, whether it is YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're also on the BS3 Network, bs3tvlive.com, BS3 Network Roku channel, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, whatever you can consume podcasts, you can find The Real Deal on those platforms. And you can follow me on all the social platforms, Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days, Instagram, Facebook, also Blue Sky and TikTok. So I am very excited, like I said, to have my next guest here. And they have a podcast together called Sports Uncorked. I have Rachel McCarter and Marisa Ridgeway on the show. And I am, like I said, glad to have them on. So welcome, ladies, to the show. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, happy to be here. I'm still dancing from your intro music.
Yes. Thank you. Like I said, I told you before we started recording, I'm happy to have you guys on and happy just to get to know you a little bit and talk. And for the audience, I'm glad we connected and networked on social media, and I love the podcast. These are the hosts of Sports Uncorked. They're gonna tell you all about their podcast, a little bit of sports, a little bit of wine, a little bit of banter, and all that. So it's a great podcast. So follow on all the platforms as well. So again, thank you both for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Of course, yeah.
All
We're
right,
so happy to be here.
Yeah, let's get started. Let's start with, I always ask my first time guests on the show who they are and how they got to where they are today. So Marisa, I'll start with you. Talk a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got started, just how you got in the sports.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Marisa. The thing is that I grew up in a sports household. I grew up in the Northeast, so I'm a big fan of like Syracuse basketball, big fan of like Albany college football. I'm a Bills Mafia fan. So like I've always been into sports. I've always watched sports. Sports has always been a big part of our family. So it kind of just feels like it's in my blood. Like I played sports when I was in school, and there's just a real passion for it for me.
Okay. All right. Upstate New York, it looks like. And that's where I was born and raised too, in upstate New York. And we know about the cold and and all that. So upstate New York. All right, love it. All right, Rachel, you're up next. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into sports, and a little intro of yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Rachel. I have been a sports fan my entire life. I grew up in Alabama, born and raised. My family was a bunch of Auburn fans. They were not from Alabama, but when you move to the state of Alabama, the first question that people ask you is, are you an Alabama or an Auburn fan? And by default, I don't know why, they chose Auburn and have kind of lived out that dream as being fans for their entire life. So I grew up in a heavily SEC dominated household. My parents are both from Iowa, or they've spent a good amount of time in Iowa before they moved to the South. So we have a little bit of Big Ten in our family, but I've grown up in a college football household my entire life. So it was a big part of my upbringing. Clearly has followed me through my career. And Marissa and I, we met in college, and it's something that we very quickly bonded over. We both ended up at Alabama, which the way I got from an Auburn family to an Alabama collegiate career is a really interesting story for another day. But, Marissa and I, we met in college haphazardly. We both realized we were huge, huge football fans, which in the South, it's pretty easy to find other chicks that are like into football. But we quickly realized that not only are we into football, do we enjoy tailgating, we enjoy going to the games, but we actually kind of know our stuff. Like we know the history of it. We can talk about like the plays. We can talk about what happened 5 or 6 years ago. And so when we graduated from school and I moved to Colorado, she stayed kind of on the East Coast, and we continuously found ourselves like talking about college football and talking about what's going on in the sports world, not even just in college football, but kind of all sports. And we became kind of the source of information for a lot of our friends too. So something big would happen in the sporting realm and people would text us for our opinions. And we kind of thought, wow, there's something here. People care about what we think. It's a way for us to stay connected and to become friends. So last year, that's when we decided, hey, maybe we're going to start a podcast, and it's a way for us to stay connected on either side of the coast, and to bring kind of our thoughts, which are oftentimes unhinged, oftentimes unconventional, but they're always rooted in some kind of fact.
Right.
It's a fun podcast, but that's kind of how Sports Uncorked came to be. We drink wine, or we drink some kind of alcohol at some point during our episode. We're talking about and featuring some kind of wine. But as you can imagine, after 45 minutes of drinking and talking, we get a little bit unhinged, which makes it a lot of fun.
I love the concept. I love that. That was my next question, the origin of Sports Uncorked. But I love the concept because you said wine, football, and then just, it said amongst friends, talking like you almost had like a, sports bar, or just out, just having a drink or whatever, or at a game or anything like that. And you said, I'm sure, it can get unhinged, but I love that. I listened to the episodes, and before we even connected, I was already, I wanted you guys to have you guys on the show. And I really appreciate, because like I said, it's a different concept. You're talking about your favorite wines, but also football, and you do. Yes, you guys know your stuff for sure. Know your
the boys in the bar hate to see us coming. Yeah,
I would love it. Because it's just like you said, it's just talking like amongst friends, and just, hey, you talk a little trash talk and all that. I enjoy that, and everything too. So yeah, Sports Uncorked. Talk a little bit more about, you talk about the origin. Talk a little bit more about when they listen to the podcast, the concept, and what would people get from the podcast. Marisa, I'll start with you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Rach said it best. It really is just two best friends at the bar talking about sports. I mean, I said that jokingly, the boys in the bar hate to see us coming, but they really do, because we do know our stuff. Yeah. You want to talk about what happened in a 2009 Iron Bowl game? Well, tough noogies, because we're going to give you almost a play-by-play and the highlights. But it really is. It's like sitting with two of your best friends, and with Rach being in Colorado, me being in North Carolina, we're already texting each other every other day. So this gives us an excuse to kind of talk on the phone for an hour about our favorite things. So that really is kind of the concept, like two best friends shooting the shit, talking about football. We're both huge wine fans. Hey, this is our favorite wine. By the way, this quarterback is messing it up again. So that really is what it is.
And what I love is there's no topic that's kind of out of bounds. When you listen to SportsCenter or you listen to other podcasts, maybe they stay kind of within the lines.
Right.
We are coloring all outside of the lines. We are saying things that we're like, we're probably going to get canceled. This is not going to be popular. Should we cut this out? No, we're going to leave it in because it's edgy. And there's oftentimes, Riss, we've talked about this, where we produce something on a Thursday, we release it on a Friday, and then we're watching College Game Day on Saturday, and we're like, did they listen to our show? Like, those were the exact things we were talking about. Bristol,
they probably did.
For you.
Yeah, we had a standing cease and desist letter ready to send to ESPN, because I swear we'll be watching College Game Day, and it's funny because of the time change. Like, Rach is in Mountain Time, I'm on Eastern, so it's like 7:30 her time. And I'm like, can you believe they said exactly what we said on Thursday? It's hilarious.
You're like, Nick Saban stole my talk track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So flattering.
And
Yeah.
you know, they probably do. I'm sure a lot of those guys they probably do listen to certain podcasts, or they see something. It's like when someone puts a tweet out or something like that, and then they use it. They're like, wait, that was the tweet I just did. Like what? How did that work? And then they're saying it right on their show. You're like, wait, we need to get some credit for it too. So, but but the one of the things I love about the podcast that you said, there's no topic, you guys will talk about anything, or you guys, I've seen you guys have dressed up before in costumes and did some things, and you guys talked about different things. Like, where does those concepts come from? Like, is it just just guys are just chatting, and then it's like, hey, I think this will be a good thing to talk about. Let's dive into this, and the next thing you know, it's 45 minutes of that topic. But how do those topics come about, Rachel? We'll start with you on that one.
Well, funny you mentioned the costumes, because earlier today we recorded our Halloween episode
Okay,
where we are in costumes. Rich, should we tell the audience what to expect, or should we?
Yeah, for sure.
So Marisa has historically loved to make fun of Mike McDaniel, Miami Dolphins head coach. So she plays the part of Mike McDaniel for our podcast. And then I love to make fun of Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend and his colossal collapse in Chapel Bill. So I am dressed as Chapel Bill for the duration of our episode. So that is going to be released tomorrow. It's super funny. It's hilarious. But we try to think of things that are a little edgy or a little bit different. I think last year we dressed up as Nick Saban and Coach Prime, and because of their ties to a lot of different things. We've done a couple episodes in costume, but really it's just like, what do we feel like is going to resonate with the audience? What do we think people want to hear? What is kind of cool? And I mean, we just like to have fun with it. So if it's something that's edgy and fun and like, it's minimal effort. Honestly, we have full-time jobs, and if it's minimal effort, but it's a lot of fun, then we're going to do it. And we're always open to suggestions. If you, the people, want to see something, like, throw it at us, and we are open to it. But we're
70% of the time, it's just a platform for me to rant, because we'll just be like, can you believe they're still talking about? I think we spent like a better half of last season complaining about NIL and how it's just like absolutely ruining college football for us. But I mean, it's just, we're opinionated and we've got stuff to say. That's just really the basis of it all. But that, like, we'll just be texting each other, back and forth on Monday, and it's almost like preparing for a phone date with your best friend. And it's like, hey, we need to talk about the fact that, like, they spent a lot of money on Bill Belichick down there in Chapel Hill, and he's not winning any games. And she's like, yeah, we should probably talk about that this week. I'm like, let's do it.
Right. And it seemed like you said, it's like your text chain, or, that's like, okay, this is going to be the podcast. Like, and you said you guys are texting back and forth messages and things like that. And it's like, maybe this should be the topic of the pod. I love that. I really do. I really appreciate that. And you said you guys were Coach Saban and Prime. Yeah. All you needed was the Aflac commercial, and you guys did it right there.
Actually, we were looking for the Aflac duck, and we couldn't find it.
I have one.
There he is. I think
Aflac provided a duck for us.
Yes.
And then we also we did Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee for Halloween last year. So that was like another one that we did. So it's just, it's us just poking fun at the people that like we love to talk about every day anyways. It's a lot of fun.
I love it. I love the podcast. You have a fan. You already, I mean, I've been listening and subscribed. It's I'm a fan, big fan, even before. So, but yes, absolutely. Everyone listen to the podcast, like, subscribe, all those things, share, and all those things to Sports Uncorked. It's on all platforms. And so for sure, I'll definitely be sharing it out even more and everything too for you. So it's incredible. Just like I said, just talking, just talking and just doing all types of things. I love it. Unhinged, as you said. I appreciate that. I really do. So let's talk about. So you guys brought up NIL and everything too, and that's always a topic of discussion. And I know like some of your thoughts, but break down like your thoughts on the NIL. You said, Marisa, I'll start with you. You said it's ruining college football for you. In what ways is NIL ruining it for you?
So as much as I agree that as much as these kids are putting their bodies through every single week, and well, let's not mince words. It's not just every Saturday. They're still going to class. They're still going to practice. Like, this is a lot of hard work on these kids.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like before NIL, these kids were playing for blood. They were playing for their future. They were playing like their lives were on the line. Because in a lot of the cases, they are. The end goal is to get to the NFL so that they can live their dream, play football every single day of their life, make a lot of money. And now it feels like a little baby NFL. I mean, we've got kids that are like, you know what? Go ahead, bench me. It's fine, because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to take selfies on the bench and I'm going to make $1 million. And also I'm going to flash my mini Rolex and my Cuban links and my Nikes. And like, there's no like get up and go anymore, because all of the incentive to do a good job every Saturday playing in front of all of the students at your school is completely gone. And what's even more crazy is that you are now setting ourselves up to have, which we joke about all the time on the pod, 27, 26, 30-year-old guys playing college football. So now, like, what is the age limit on college football? And now what is the incentive of going to the NFL? It is absolutely mind-blowing. And like, again, this is what the whole basis of our podcast is, me bringing up, like, the ridiculous things that are happening in the sports world. But that just is what it is. And it's absolutely so depressing and a little infuriating, because that progression of one step to the next is now gone. So hopefully the NCAA will get some kind of regulations or some better regulations around NIL, because right now it's just rampant free agency, and you can't operate like that forever.
I agree, and I totally agree with a lot of your points. I'm sure you got more points that you with that, but no, it is, you're right. I think NIL is running rampant. It's gotten out of hand. I think the concept in the beginning was excellent. I thought it was needed. They said athletes being paid, but now you're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars being thrown around at 19, 20, 21-year-olds. I'm like,
yeah.
If I was 21, me at 21 with millions of dollars, oh my goodness, wouldn't even want to leave college. But it's I like I said, I think they deserve to be paid, but there needs to be regulation. I 100% agree with that. And a lot of these kids, they, like I said, there's good and bad to it, because now you have the transfer portal that's also being running rampant as well. Because you said you can get benched, and then you can say, okay, well, I can just transfer to another school and I can play here, and I can shine here. Yes, there's a lot of different situations for transfer and everything too, but when the ones are just keeps transferring to somewhere because they're not getting their way, that's a whole nother thing. So,
like,
well, Rachel, what do
you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. What'd you think, Rachel?
And I'm an October birthday, so I'm a Libra, right? So I've got the balance of the scale. So I often balance Marisa out.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of good intent and a lot of good that has come from NIL. It has created a lot of parity in our sports. It has made a more equal playing field for a lot of teams. Look at Texas Tech, look at Indiana, look at Georgia Tech, look at Ole Miss, look at Vanderbilt. Teams that have kind of been mid to bottom pack in their conferences have now been able to raise up and have a good sustainable program because of NIL, because you are able to bring in that talent. You are able to bring a roster that is able to compete within a quick, minute of time. So I think there is benefit to it. What I don't like, which you both mentioned, is players that are leveraging the amount of money that they can make to jump from school to school to school. And Marisa, to your point, I think that's what we all have loved about college football is these kids go to play, they commit to a school, and they commit to that school for 4 years because they believe in the culture, they believe in the school, and they want to play for that team. And I think we're losing a little bit of that edge. We're losing a lot of that swagger, and it's all becoming about money. Now, there are kids they still kind of believe in that old school system. They want to play for a coach. They believe on that coach. If they sit behind somebody for a year, that's okay. We saw that with Arch Manning. We saw that with Ty Simpson. We've seen it with some players that they want to sit behind and they want to learn. arch we find out that he sat behind because he maybe wasn't as qualified. But you do kind of still see this hope that there are some players that commit to a program, they commit to a school, and they want to stay. And then we see players like Nico, right, who tried to leverage for more money. That busted. He went out to UCLA, didn't maybe work out the way that he thought it was going to work out. So I think there's two sides to each coin. I think there does have to be some regulation in the amount and the way that athletes are paid. This started out as name, image, and likeness, not pay to play. And I think we've kind of gotten away from what is name, image, and likeness. Like, you have to create that. You can't just have an NIL deal before you even play a down of football. We saw several quarterbacks that are being paid $4 million right out of high school. Like, what is their NIL? We don't know. So I think there do need to be some parameters. I think that's being figured out. I think we need a commissioner of college football to kind of help navigate and figure that out. I think there need to be GMs at colleges to help navigate the roster and roster management. So as we move towards more of that NFL model for college athletics, it's just kind of a little bit of a painful growing period. And I think the coaches now, as we've seen multiple bloody Sundays week after week after week, are starting to feel that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also with, as fans, watching college football for so many years, and you like us, you like the school, you like, the program, and then next thing you know, you don't even know who's going to be on the roster coming into the summer.
Right.
And I think that's a problem too, because you got so many kids that are transferring, and you're thinking, oh, this is our quarterback for the next 3 years, and you got a new quarterback. Like, wait.
How do you develop a player? How do you develop a team when you've got a new freaking roster every single year? Like, it's impossible.
Yeah. And look at coaches, how they would feel, they don't, and a lot of them, there's some of them that love the transfer portal, that love NIL. There's some that hasn't adapted to it. They're said, as Rachel said, that old school model. That's what they figure they got a roster where they can compete. And then the next year, it's like a turnover. It's like half the team is gone, and they're thinking like, okay, like Clemson, Dabble Sweeney, he doesn't like the transfer portal at all, and you just think like I can't compete no more with this unless he has to adapt. And that's why I think Coach Saban, he never really wanted to adapt to it either. So he's thinking, well, he's accomplished so much, and he's thinking I can retire. But he's like, I'm just getting out of here before it gets out of hand. So maybe he's seen something that with the NIL. But I agree with you too, Rich. I think, like I said, there's two sides of it. There is good and there's bad, but it just, like I said, has to be regulated for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So
we talked a little bit about like the impact of this with, I mean, currently there are 13 Power 5 school coaching openings like midway through the season. And we've never seen coaches to this extent being fired mid-season. The impact of that. So think about if you are a player that has committed to Penn State, for example, or you're a player that is a 5-star player, or you are a highly touted recruit, or you're a highly utilized player on that team. What are you going to do right now? Because Penn State's going probably after a coach that likely is going to be in the playoffs. They're not going for a small hire. So do you just hang out and hope that they hire a good coach during this transfer portal window that's going to close before the playoffs are over? So you sit and wait, or do you transfer and take some money to go somewhere else where you know who the coach is going to be? I think like this whole firing mid-season is a very precarious situation, especially with the fact that the transfer portal closes before the playoffs are over, before some of these coaches could be named if they are going to make moves to some of these big schools. And there's no spring transfer portal window now. So you're kind of stuck with the roster that you come up with, minus all of the people who've transferred due to, we don't know what's going on with the program, and we know we can transfer somewhere where there's a sure thing, and maybe we can earn a little bit more money. I think that is something that maybe hasn't been thought through with a lot of these schools, like Penn State, LSU, Florida. There might be some other big coaching opportunities out there, but you're going to sign a coach with a huge deal that's going to virtually have to build a roster from scratch. Yeah. Unless you can have some kind of retention strategy.
How are you going to do that? Like, at what cost are they doing this? And they're going to have to, the sad thing is that they're going to have to start eating into other programs in order, like, I'm sorry, I'm no financial analyst, but I'm pretty sure that these major universities are not like, the only products that they are creating are athletes. So how else are you generating enough revenue to be throwing money left and right unless you start cutting into other programs? And unfortunately, other programs, and like, I hate to say it, but it's going to be like a lot of women's sports, women's golf, women's softball. Like, those programs are going to start disappearing at a lot of these major universities. If you're paying a head coach of a football team in college $60 million over 5 years, in addition to the $3 million that you're playing 1 to 2 players in your starting roster. I mean, like, money is not falling from the sky, at least not at every school, because, like, let's not forget, like, the SEC is filled with boosters that have very, very deep pockets, but not every university is like that. It's really maddening.
It's very maddening. You're right. It's college football is turning into the NFL. Basically, it's the entity is turning into the NFL. And yes, there is a lot of money, and they're paying a lot of money. You said to these coaches, and you said 2 or 3 players on the roster are making $4 or $5 million a year.
Ohio State has a $20 million roster.
Yeah.
Like, that's noted. $20 million roster.
Yep. It's. Well, we'll see what the future holds. We just hope, like you said, let's hope that they're able to regulate this in a way and structure it in a way where the players still get paid, but also where it's not running rampant and getting out of hand. But it's like you said, now it's out there. It's like putting toothpaste in, you can't put that back in the tube. So you got to do something about it. There's got to be something to be done. And maybe they'll listen to us and they and they see what we're talking about and say, hey, they got a good point. Let's get them going. Let's listen to them, hire them, and we'll fix college football for sure. But anything else I want to ask about the latest other things that you guys are seeing in college football? Tremendous season so far. Talk about Bill Belichick, how much of that has failed big time. And I mean, from the jump, right from the beginning, it was like, it's not working out as much. I feel like Bill Belichick, he's not going to stay much longer. I don't think he's going to stay that much longer, because I know you have to pay him a lot, but it just hasn't worked. I know it's only 1 year, half a year so far, but it hasn't worked out. But any other storylines you guys are that you guys are looking at or looking forward to? Marisa, we'll start with you. What other storylines in college football so far? Half the season so far?
I mean, outside of the coaching carousel and NIL, I think like the one thing that we're watching right now is that we're entering week 10 of college football, which is it's very exciting, but we're now getting to the point where there are major playoff implications that are in place with a lot of schools that are in the top 10. And Rach and I, like she said, we were just finishing recording our episode that's going to be released this week. I mean, we're watching Ohio State play Penn State this weekend, and like no one's going to watch that game because no one cares because Ohio State's going to win. Right. We're watching Ole Miss that has been ranked inside the top 10 for like the first time in years. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things that are going to happen this week. I don't think we have anybody that's on upset alert, but as we get closer to like the playoffs and what that bracket's going to look like in the seeding, you know, I'm really excited to see if anything crazy happens this weekend that's going to change up, you know, the difference between who's going to be getting that bye week for the first round of the playoffs and who isn't. So that's kind of my thing. I'm excited to be watching.
All right. What do you think, Rachel? The biggest storylines?
I mean, I agree with that. We have the first college football playoff committee rankings. And I feel like this is where if you're in that top 16, you have a really good chance of staying in that top 16. So I think a lot of teams are vying for the opportunity to stay. Who would have thought at the beginning of the season that one of the best games this weekend would be Texas and Vandy, and that Vandy would be favored, right? Right. I think that's what we love about the sport, and we love about conferences that have a really good mid-tier that have grown in the right way. The Big Ten, yes, they have 3 great teams at the top of their conference, and we might show up to that final selection show with Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon ranked 1, 2, 3. But the rest of that conference, there's no kind of middle players. There's no kind of bottom players. And when you grow from 10 to 18 that quickly and you're trying to capture market in kind of an odd way without investing in those schools, it just shows the difference of how the Big Ten has tried to grow and what they're trying to do versus the ACC versus the SEC and versus the Big 12, who have developed and brought in the right kind of coaches and the right kind of support to grow those mid-tier teams so that those games are more exciting throughout the year. So like Marisa said, we're not watching a lot of Big Ten. We just kind of figure what the outcomes are going to be. But the rest of the conferences have amazing games, it seems like, week in and week out. And the TV ratings support that.
Absolutely. Yeah, TV ratings do support that. And then also ACC, you talked about the ACC. You have the showdown between Miami and SMU. And now it's before their losses, it would have been like, oh, this is a very marquee matchup. Still is. But now whoever loses and get that second loss in this game, you might as well their ACC title hopes are dashed away for sure. So I thought, like, okay, Miami's looking really good, top 2, top 3 team, and then they get beat by Louisville and then upset, and SMU loses in dramatic fashion to Wake Forest. So now you said this is but it's crowded. The ACC race is crowded. Georgia Tech, Virginia undefeated, Pitt, Duke, Louisville 1-loss conference, and then Miami and SMU 1 loss as well. So yeah, that's a loaded ACC. So I'm looking forward to that.
And who would have thought at the beginning of the season we wouldn't have even mentioned Clemson?
Yes,
in that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like that they're not at the top with Miami, because I think that's what everybody thought preseason was Clemson and Miami, maybe Florida State.
Yeah, maybe Florida State. Crazy. Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah. So
it's
any other conferences you guys right now heading into that first playoff bracket that we're looking forward to next week? But any other conferences that you guys are looking at?
Dude, we're all in on the SEC.
SEC, I shouldn't even ask that, right? I shouldn't even ask that. SEC, yes.
Yeah, like when they say it just means more, like they're not joking around. It just means more to us. So we're SEC girls through and through.
Oh yes, and the SEC, they're always in the headlines. They're always the big schools, and that they talk about. Yeah. And people hate on it, but it's like, well, they got the best. They're always in the mix.
That's the whole reason for this whole bracket playoff nonsense, is because people got tired of seeing Alabama and Georgia win the national championship.
Right, exactly.
I mean, every year it's been an SEC school, with the exception of when Ohio State won. People got tired of that. Yep. So
there's always 3 SEC and then 1 Big Ten or someone that came out of nowhere, and you're thinking, okay, this is an SEC country, so it doesn't even matter. But it's still SEC, still running it. So great college season so far. Looking forward to how this weekend shapes out, and we'll get our first playoff bracket. See where the teams are. Looking forward to it. So all right, just got a couple more before I let you ladies go. So you guys talk about wine and things like that. Question would be, what's your favorite wines that you guys like to drink on the show or casually or anything like that?
So I'll start, Riz.
Okay.
So we went to Willamette Valley a couple of weeks ago for my birthday, and we had an opportunity to sit down with Channing Frye, who's a 2012 NBA champion, played on the team in Cleveland with LeBron. And he has a winery in Willamette Valley that produces some of the best Pinot Noir, some of the best champagne, and they're starting to produce bubbles. So we sat down with him. We did an interview. It hasn't been released yet, but it's coming, I promise.
Okay, looking forward to that.
Yeah. And he told us the story about his winery, how he got into it. He is part owner in this winery with Kevin Love. And they just really love kind of the philosophy and the story about how wine brings people together, and it shares and it tells stories. So I have to say, I am a new wine club member of Chosen Family Wines, which is their brand and their winery. And I love that it has that sports connection.
Yeah.
And I mean, Riss, we had just such a great time. And isn't that Pinot Noir like one of the best wines you have ever had?
So delicious. And I don't consider myself a Pinot girl. And I like dream about it because they don't sell it in North Carolina. So I'm having to order it and pray that it gets here from Oregon. But it was absolutely stellar. And I am not a girl that discriminates against a wine. I like the reds, I like the whites, but I am a big fan. I feel like Oregon did teach me that I'm a South American, I'm a Spanish, and I'm a California red girl. Like I love a Paso Robles. I think when we were filming earlier, I was drinking a glass of Austin Hope. Like I'm a red girl through and through.
Okay. All right. I love that. All right. Well, my favorite, I'll add mine then too. I like Elmo Pio, Moscato. Oh, so good. I mean, me and my wife, we drink that when we do on occasion. And they also have they have red. They got a lot of different, they got wild berry. They have so many different versions. I think that wine, because it says 2022, so I believe that's when it was released. And it's hard to find. Some of them are hard to find, but the Moscato, ooh, really love that. So that'd be favorite. Maybe one day we'll, maybe I'll jump on your podcast or jump back on this one. We'll have a glass of wine together.
Yeah,
and do that. And
we
then
literally
just
have cases coming from Oregon, so we'll have plenty.
You guys have plenty, right?
Yeah.
There'll be plenty. But that's good. And then, like I said, just have a nice glass of wine and just talk sports or whatever, and do that. I love that concept. So, all right, last question is: if you could share a drink with any coach or athlete, who would it be, and what would you talk about besides football? We'll start with you, Rachel.
Okay, so I thought a lot about this question, and it might not be a popular answer. But I would love to sit down and have a conversation with Jason Kelsey. But I would ask Jason to leave the room and to invite Kylie in because I think she is a badass and I love her. Yeah. I love her passion for sports. I love her as a mother. I'm also a mother. And I just think she is like a no nonsense, awesome person. She's hilarious. She gets it. She's a fabulous wife. She's supportive. And she's an athlete herself. So that's, if I could sit down and talk about sports with anyone, I would say Jason can stay for like 5 minutes because I think he's awesome. But who I really want to talk to is his wife, Kylie.
Talk to Kylie. Yes.
We love Kylie.
Yes.
She's awesome.
All right. That's a good one there. I like that. All right, Marissa. As you said, same question. Coach, athlete, anything like that. Who would it be and what would you talk about? It could be the sport or anything like that.
I got really, really torn. And when I immediately thought of it, it took me to basketball. And honestly, I would love to sit and talk with Kobe Bryant right now because I would just love to hear what he has to say about all these soft dudes across every single sport right now. Because I know that he would have a lot to say about people throwing tantrums in the middle of a game. I think he would have a lot to say about referees showing blatant favoritism. Kansas City Chiefs. I'm looking at you guys. I think he would have a lot to say about NIL. And I would just love to hear what he would have to say as a girl dad, watching how much the WNBA has developed and how Dawn Staley has done so much and what's going on with Becky Hammond's going from college to the WNBA. I would just love to hear what he has to say about sports across the board. I feel like he would have so much to say.
I love that one too. Big Kobe fan.
Marissa, good answer.
Good answer. Well, since I asked my own question, I did this. I thought of this one too. It's in the realm of Kobe, but I'm going with Michael Jordan. I think, if you talk about someone that would talk about these soft players and everything, Jordan would tell it how it is. I mean, he's doing it now. He's got this new series on NBC, on the NBA. When he was hired as a contributor to the NBA on NBC, I was thinking, okay, he's not going to – Michael Jordan don't really say too much. And I thought he's going to be there on occasion. But now they're doing a series every week. And he's already talking – like he used to when he played, talking trash, trashing the league a little bit and things like that. So I would love to hear just the stories of him for hours and maybe have a cigar with him too. And just to hear the stories and everything and just talk about the NBA and and things like when he won all those championships and everything too. So that would be the person I would have a glass of wine with for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Love that. All right. Well, Rachel, Marisa, this has been a pleasure. I mean, we could have went on for hours and hours and hours, but I said, I'll cut it here after that question. But I really appreciate both of you jumping on the show and the podcast. I really appreciate you guys' knowledge. You guys, know all your stuff, which I already knew that. So there was no question about that at all. But I really, like I said, appreciate what you guys are doing and with in the podcast space and just letting everyone know that, hey, we know like I said, we know our stuff, and you guys, and please listen as well. But thank you again, and let everyone know they can follow the show, like and subscribe again, and follow you both on social media. Rachel, start with you. Uh-oh.
Oh no, we lost your audio.
Yep, lost your audio.
That's okay, girl. I got you. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. We're both on Instagram and on Facebook at Sports Uncorked. I'm at Roll Tide Risk. You can also like and subscribe us on YouTube. So Google us, you'll find us.
Google them. Google Sports Uncorked, Marisa and Rachel. Nope.
You're back.
I don't know. Like it just glitched all of a sudden.
Yes,
Thanks,
yes.
Chris.
But nope. Follow Sports Uncorked. Like I said, these women are incredible, talented, and like I said, they get unhinged, but I love it, and they talking their stuff. Yeah, so love that. I love that. But very knowledgeable and everything too. Great podcast. So thank you again, both. Really appreciate it, and hopefully we can do this again.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks
all right, you guys. Yes, absolutely. You guys enjoy the weekend. Talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.